The 4th generation Mercedes E-Class, coded W212 in saloon and estate form, arrived in 2009 and was discontinued in 2016. The new E-Class was unveiled at the 2009 Geneva Motor Show, although leaked images had been seen in late 2008, making the launch slightly anticlimactic. The saloon was available immediately after the official reveal in January 2009, and the estate version followed in November that same year. Over the lifespan of the 4th generation E-Class, an extensive refresh was performed in 2013, with the automaker spending $1 billion on updating the model. This is easily identifiable by the merging of the headlights to a single unit from the earlier split light design, but the changes go far beyond some new lights and massaged bumpers. Mercedes was so keen to separate the early model from the facelift that when the E-Class was replaced with an entirely new model in 2016, Mercedes showed a lineage of previous generations, with the W212 generation saloons displayed as both pre- and a post-facelift, while other vehicles were only shown as a single generation. In 2015, the Chinese market marginally outsold the USA. The USA's recorded sales figures have since decreased, with the best year on record being 2013. Europe remains a critical market for the E-Class, where sales have always been stronger than any other market, although haven't matched the record set in 2003. There are 3 popular trims to the E-Class: SE, Avantgarde and Sport, also called AMG Line in facelift models. There is also the E63 AMG model, with either the magnificent naturally aspirated 6.2 litre V8 in early cars or the thumping 5.5 litre bi-turbo in facelift models, which we'll cover separately in another video. The rest of the range has a variety of engines in either petrol or diesel, with 4, 6 and 8 cylinders. We'll come on to the engines and what to look out for later in the video, but first let's have a look at the common issues that affect the W212 E-Class models so you know what to look for no matter what trim or body style you're looking at. Early models had recalls in late 2010 to mid-2011 for steering, brakes and cooling issues. If looking at one of these early cars, check the service book to see if there are any notes that have been recorded. Although any car with issues back then has likely been resolved. Checking that one you are looking at has had the official repair carried out is a positive buying sign. Navigation dials can stop working, so check all the dials zoom and move around the map as commanded. And while you're there, check that the cup holders and seat stitching aren't loose or in need of repair as has been reported on higher mileage vehicles. Turn the steering wheel lock to lock and listen for any whining noise or unexpected vibrations. This is likely a failed steering rack that is leaking fluid. The 7-speed automatic gearbox can become problematic. Check with the existing owner or check the service history for any previous maintenance or repairs. Failure of several water pumps suggests that shortening the service interval expectations of the part would be prudent during ownership. If buying one without proof of a previous change, it would be best to get this replaced. Seat bottom's Artico material is prone to cracking or splitting, especially in hot climates. O2 sensors are also common to fail. Any engine management light that throws a fault code suggesting an issue with emissions may need a new O2 sensor replacement. At the rear, 2 common problems are known. In countries with cold and snowy weather, build-up of corrosion on the rear subframe is common and should be checked to make sure it is not in such bad shape that it will fail your yearly inspection. Rear air suspension on the estate or wagon version is known to fail either due to the level sensor linkage failure or the airbags themselves. Finally, crankshaft position sensors can fail, leaving the car unable to move. This is not a particularly expensive repair, although any car you see with this warning light for crank position sensors should have this replacement done immediately before the car is unable to operate. Before we move on to the engines, we appreciate every subscriber we get to the channel, and liking the video helps it to be found by others, so if you're finding this guide useful, then consider tapping that thumbs up button. Onto the motors, and there are a wide range of options. To make the guide easier, we've grouped together some engines that share an initial designation but vary in size, but any particular model-specific issues we'll point out separately. Let's start with the diesels. A 2.2 diesel unit is fitted to models badged E200, E220 and E250 CDI. You may also see it badged with BlueTech or 4MATIC, and it is also fitted to the E300 hybrid sold between 2012 and 2016. All units share the OM651DE22 designation, and so although power ranges between 134 brake horsepower and 201 brake horsepower, the block and many ancillaries are matching. Fuel efficiency varies between 53 to 59 miles per gallon in official figures, or 4.9 litres to 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres on the NEDC cycle. Some high mileage examples can develop a rattle from the timing chain. A replacement chain and guide usually resolves this issue, although you may need to reset what your expectations of high mileage are for the E-Class, as they are commonly used as taxis in Europe equipped with the 2.2 diesel engine, and it's not uncommon to see 400,000 kilometres on older examples. Note that there have been reports of the E250 CDI can suffer coolant leaks near the EGR cooler. Look through the paperwork of any potential purchase to see if the injectors have previously been replaced, as some suffered with faulty units. However, this issue seems to have been resolved. Diesel particulate filter blockages won't be a surprise to long-term diesel owners. If the car you are looking at has done low mileage, try to understand whether that has been used sparingly for long journeys or driven short distances around town. If the latter, then see if the original DPF has been replaced. The 3-litre V6 diesel engine was fitted to all versions of the E300 and E350 CDI models, with the exception of the E300 hybrid mentioned above. Power varies from 201 to 261 brake horsepower, depending on variant, with the 300 models being boosted from 201 brake horsepower to 228 brake horsepower from the pre to post facelift model. If looking to purchase an early E300 CDI, look out for leaks around the oil cooler. The part is cheap, but labour to repair this can become expensive due to accessibility. Mercedes initiated a fix in mid-2010, and so late 2010 and 2011 onward models shouldn't suffer from this issue. A rod on the intake manifold is known to snap on the 3-litre diesel engines. The rod is made of plastic and can wear prematurely. Fault code P2006 or a poor idle are symptoms of this failure. A cost-effective solution is a replacement with a metal rod that aftermarket companies have created. Finally, you should note that many of the 3-litre diesel engine models started life as company lease vehicles, and so check service records to make sure they are complete. The petrol engines have a wider span of capacity, with the smaller 1.8 4-cylinder spanning all the way up to the 6.2 litre V8 of the early E63 models. We'll cover the AMG engines in a separate video dedicated to the AMG models. Pre-facelift models have an entry option of a 1.8 litre turbocharged engine fitted to the E200 and E250. Power is rated at 181 brake horsepower and 201 brake horsepower for these two models, with near identical fuel economy of 36 miles to the gallon. Opting for a facelift model increases engine size to 2 litres, with a small increase in power of the E250 model. The 1.8 and 2 litre motors' main concern are coolant related. However, crankshaft failure is by far the biggest concern. Although the issue isn't reported widely enough for us to determine how common the fault is, look for any white smoke on startup that doesn't immediately clear on colder days. On warmer days there should be no visible smoke. There may be other lesser known issues with these units. Due to the rarity of this in this particular application, there was not a wide variety of common complaints or service alerts for these engines on the E-Class. If you're aware of any specific issues for these motors, please put them in the comments below to help others. E300 and E350 models have either a 3-litre or 3.5-litre V6. Early models have a 3-litre V6 unless equipped with a 4-matic all-wheel drive system. Not all markets were offered with all-wheel drive variants. E400 Hybrid was also equipped with a 3.5-litre engine. There were reported issues of ECU failure previously, however these appear to have been resolved by Mercedes. Intake actuators are also a concern, along with worn idle pulleys. Although the latter should be audible, the former will likely give a fault code on startup and should be repaired immediately to avoid further damage. The E400 produced 328 brake horsepower with an average of 30 miles per gallon. It doesn't have a high rate of complaints or common known faults listed, although minor issues were fault codes that have been reported. However, we were unable to identify a common theme to these complaints. Again, if you're aware of any common issues for the E400, please add them in the comments below. The final engine of the regular lineup is the E500 and E550. Early models get a 5.5 litre engine producing 383 brake horsepower, while newer facelift models get a 4.7 litre engine making 402 brake horsepower. The larger 5.5 unit averaged 21 miles per gallon, and the newer engine was quoted with an official figure of 26 miles per gallon. Intake actuators are prone to fail due to heat build-up, the same as on the E300 and E350 models. Oil filter housing gaskets can also fail, leading to an oil spill in the engine bay, so look out for signs of hastily wiped up oil patches. Camshaft position sensors will show an engine warning light and are likely to impede smooth idling, so should be easy to spot. Due to the unstressed nature of the larger engines offered in the E500 and E550, fewer failures of critical items have been reported. As ever, we have split our choice into two, with the budget choice being the E220 CDI from 2011 in Avantgarde specification, with our higher budget pick, the 2015 E500 or E350 if you live in a country where the E500 was not offered. If we've missed anything, please add a comment below to help those that find the video looking to buy a W212 E-Class. Consider liking and subscribing the video, and until next time, have the best of luck looking for your next car.